All right. Welcome to the No Name Podcast. I am your host, Devika. We don't really know what this podcast is going to be yet, but we'll see what it turns into. Um, just for introductions, I am a lighting programmer for concerts and corporate events. And then we are joined with Ben and Sam. Ben, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hey, I'm Ben. Um, I work for Tate, the live entertainment staging and automation company out in Pennsylvania. Um, yeah,
And I'm Sam. I'm a technical director and draftsman for a number of companies, for a number of industries. I don't know how much more I am allowed to disclose.
yeah. Do we want to talk about what our history is together?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all graduated from, well, sorry, Sam is still in college, but we all graduated from University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. We all are theater nerds.
Started out as theater nerds, for sure.
Hey, once a theater kid, always a theater kid. You can't shake that.
Fair. Um, but yeah, we're all kind of in the industry. The industry is kind of shut down at the moment with this corona epidemic. Basically, what happened was, how long ago was it? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now?
I've been furloughed for about a week.
Yeah.
So, things started to get really serious about 3 weeks ago. I was a carpenter well, to keep it simple, um, a carpenter style guy at Tate Towers, and things were getting really rough, and they were forced to furlough us.
Yeah.
So things in the U.S. have been really serious and have only been ramping up since then.
Yeah, I think it was maybe about 3 weeks ago. Like, because we all didn't really know what was coming, but we kind of expected it. I don't think we imagined it would hit as hard as it did. But like 3 weeks ago, a lot of my friends were out on tour, gigging and all that, and then everything shut down within 3 days. Live Nation canceled all of their tours and events, and then followed everyone else. Google, South by Southwest, any major festival is either postponed or fully canceled, and basically all of us and the music entertainment industry is on standstill until this thing blows over.
Pretty much. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a little longer than that because it's not like we can just hop right back into things. You have the public has to gain confidence and they have to feel okay with going out into the world again. And so until then, entertainment industry, whether it's local theaters, things like Cirque du Soleil or live concerts, are going to be dead in the water for the foreseeable future.
And it's going to be months before people are willing to go pack into a room with 1,000 other people to see a show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've been kind of polling my friends a little bit and trying to see what they think it's going to kind of start back up. Some people are saying June, July. Other people are saying we're going to miss this entire season and start back up in winter, you know?
Yeah.
And right now there's a couple of like outlets for us because as freelancers, we're all, I guess most of us are freelancers, but everyone in the industry is just out of the job right now. And
Yeah, for
we
sure.
we
Yeah.
can't do anything sitting at home,
And it's very, I don't want to say it's reassuring, but it's comforting to know that nobody's working. Like there's no secret job somewhere that I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
gotten.
Right. Everybody is being affected with this. And let's it's not just the entertainment industry. It's industries across, the spectrum. And, we as entertaining technicians, um, we are out of the job, but then there are of course people on the front lines that are doing a really good job keeping this thing, trying to keep this country going, trying to keep people healthy. But yeah,
Very
the
true, very true.
getting hit very hard right now. Most of my friends, um, who work in the entertainment field are out of a job, and that's just the nature of it. And we will get back. We will get back to normal, but it's going to be hard for a while.
Yeah.
IATSE released the statistic that 95% of their employees are out of a job.
Sam, what is IATSE?
The International Alliance of Theater and Stage Employees.
I see Tech Prod 1 is coming in handy.
Proud of you, Sam. Good on
I,
you.
dude, I could
I've
not
worked
have
the
said
union
that.
before, and I'm union strong no matter what. Absolutely for United Workers. So it's very sad to see that many people who are so strong as a unit just all on their ass.
But
Yeah,
it is good that the union has benefits in place, so those people, it's going to be hard, but because they are parts of that union, they're going to get supported with unemployment insurance and things like that. They're not going to lose their health insurance because
Correct.
yeah,
they're a part of the union, and that's why they're so
And
important.
they'll be the first ones put back into jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
Unlike Dev, for instance, and
Yeah.
no offense to what you do, but that's the risk with being a freelancer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, the funny thing is when it wasn't as bad, I was applying and emailing everybody and their mother. And then this whole shitstorm happened, and like they were like, "Oh yeah, I'll set up interviews for next week or 2 weeks from now." Blah blah blah. Like we would really love to like sit down, find a good fit for you, and put you on our call list. And then basically everything stopped, and emails stopped, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all on hold for now, so we'll let you know what's happening." I'm like, "That's what I thought." I do have an interview scheduled for like April 15th or something,
Oh wow.
and
Right in the thick of it.
yeah, and the place where I'm going is right downtown in downtown
But you're
Manhattan.
physically going there
They want to do an in-person interview. I'm gonna wait a couple more
in New
weeks.
York City.
I know.
And you don't wear a suit, Bubble Boy.
Yeah, so we're probably not gonna do that, but we'll see what happens.
We have the technology. You can see them over Skype or
I
Zoom.
know. Oh, did you hear? So a lot of people have been using Zoom recently.
Yeah.
Which this app has only been out for maybe a year now. It hasn't been out that long. But turns out they have major security risk with using their app.
Oh yeah.
I think what was it? Apple users your Zoom would send video to random people via email or some shit. And then what was the other one? If you signed in on Windows or something, someone could jump in and just like take control of your computer. So they're fixing that. But what I don't understand is why aren't people using like Google Hangouts or something with like a trusted company that's been out and developed for years and years and years?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I think part of it is it was the pop thing to do. Nobody knew what was going on, and everyone said Zoom is fun and so easy to use.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean, I had never. Good.
You set up your meeting and it just goes. It works with your integrated webcam. There's no big networking issues that you need to solve. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
And for as shitty as it is, you can log in with Google, Facebook, your email.
True, very true.
I mean, I can have an account in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy to use. I had never heard of it until I had gotten to Tate. I'd also never heard of Slack really before I had gotten to Tate. But it just seemed like these are the industry staples now, and this is what businesses use.
Yeah.
And now, because everybody is going to work from home, I assume everybody looked around and said, okay, what are our competitors using? What are our clients using? Who can give us a recommendation? And Zoom was probably one of the top names out there.
Yeah,
And
a company I work for has been using WebEx for the longest time, and the main shop that we work with is in Germany. So it's been fairly nice, even with an international connection, that WebEx has kept up.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of WebEx before.
I'm not
It's a
familiar.
Cisco product.
Oh, okay. Well, Cisco knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So I was talking with a friend of mine who is also he's a lighting technician. He's the guy who runs the systems and sets up all that. But I was talking to him about bandwidth and bandwidth limitations of lighting networks, and he was saying that we are getting to the point where we are actually saturating a gigabit connection, and the entire industry is about to move to 10 gig networking. which is
Wow.
really fascinating. Yes, he was saying most of it is for like video side of the world. It needs 10 gig networking and media servers and stuff like that. But
Especially when you get into in-depth projections and things like that.
yeah, and the biggest thing is low latency, especially for the video guys. He was telling me while this conversation was happening, he was telling me about NDI, which is a relatively new video protocol where video and cameras have been the only thing that has not been updated to use an Ethernet cable. NDI brings that to the table where you can actually plug an Ethernet cable into your camera and then stream it to your video switcher. So now you're not
Huh.
using like HDMI or NDI and all this shit.
Well, I enjoy the PoE cameras
Yeah.
for technician use. Like, I'll slap a PoE camera on any piece of scenery that I can that can have a pigtail.
What do you
And
use primarily for those cameras? Like, what's your purpose for them?
just a backstage shot. Just is this scenery going to crash into something?
Yeah.
And it's just a safety thing and to give the operator a quick view. So I imagine the quality is not quite right for, actual presenting video,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. I can't see very well, so video quality is not my strong suit. It's seriously a problem that I have. People go, "That looks like garbage," and I go, "I don't know. You can tell me anything."
Could not tell you.
Yeah,
That's so
I deal
funny.
with numbers and computer screens that I can make work for me.
Do you still use the magnifying thing on Windows?
Oh fuck yeah!
Dude, I have always wanted to use that, but like I would always accidentally activate it and not know how to turn it off when I was in school and shit.
It's just Window key M.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's just a
Ooh.
shortcut.
Wait, what is this?
The magnifier in Windows.
Yeah.
I
It's
use
like
it
a
to
Windows
magnify my
key
computer
M?
screen, and I also use it to invert colors.
ooh. That
If
can be
I'm
actually helpful.
It's useful if I'm working in a program that doesn't have dark mode, a la Spikemark.
Dude, I don't know why programs do not have dark mode yet. It makes me so mad.
If I have to open Vectorworks, I just invert the colors of my whole screen.
Yeah,
Wow.
I also read better white on black.
same. Yeah, very true.
I think that's. I don't want to generalize, but I feel like in general that is easier on computer
Especially if you're going to be
screens.
doing it for a long time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
Have
have
you
problems where my software is set up for me, and if somebody is to sit down at my machine, they do not understand what's going on.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
They go, "Why is everything so huge? How do you figure this out?" And I said, "It's great. You can see it all." But Autodesk is very good about accessibility. You just have to be smarter than the machine.
True. Yeah, like my a lot of people have the distinction between Vectorworks and CAD. I think CAD is very, very good at what it does and it has its place. I think Vectorworks is primarily for concept and lighting people.
Oh yeah,
I don't know too many like I would never compare the two and be like, "Oh, Vectorworks is better, blah blah blah." It's a use case scenario,
Yeah, they each
100%.
serve their own purpose.
Yeah, but once you get Vectorworks set up, dude, it's like big ass fucking Legos drafting. Like all of basically I have one file that has all my symbols in it and I can drop it,
yeah.
it snaps, it's fantastic. I try to
And
do it on AutoCAD, but it's not as user friendly. There's a lot more setup involved.
No, then I imagine Vectorworks is great for using puzzle pieces, and like you said, you're using the same pieces over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Sticks of truss, these same symbols for the fixtures, um, blah 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 blah. But
same thing with architecture. This is a wall. I don't care
right,
how it
there's
integrates with
you're
the
gonna be
ground. It
on
just
you're gonna be
goes
on
on there.
16-inch centers, blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I watch my designers work at Tate, and I can't imagine them using any other program. They're trying to um, use other programs because some of our more stingy clients, like the theme parks,
Yep.
like to they want us to use things like Revit or Inventor.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
And our designers will do it because some of the language translates over. Um, but in general, those drawings come out a lot worse. Um, and they don't play well with the rest of our systems.
And
Tate
a
has
lot of that,
AutoCAD set up to you draw this thing and you type in what bolts you need, and then those bolts get transferred into a sheet that then get ordered automatically when you
Mm,
yeah.
release the kits. So we have our system so set up within the AutoCAD system that it would be hard to switch.
yeah.
And it's nice that. Hang on, what am I trying to say? It's not necessarily the program's fault that the drawing comes out sloppy.
Yeah.
It's that you have someone who is so ingrained in the way you do things that doesn't really have time to learn a whole new program to produce the same quality of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've been shitting the bed with Revit lately. Now, obviously, I am out of work, but when I was working, it was very much required to use Revit for a lot of what we did. And it was usually building blocks. And then I would say, like, faceplate goes here on the wall. And then the faceplate would be a link to my CAD file.
Yeah, you can
Because
do.
then,
Mhm.
yeah, because then I would be accurate in the other program that I know. And in this one, I'm just throwing it in the room that it's supposed to go.
Yep.
And I feel like AutoCAD, like you were saying, Ben, I think it's Inventor is the 3D like bolt thing, but you can also export it to like CNCs and 3D
Printers.
model printers. Thank you,
Yep.
3D printers very easily and
Yes.
much higher
Yes.
quality.
I believe
And
that is true.
that's true of Fusion 360 as well.
Yeah,
Because
those. Sorry, God.
I no, I have learned to be exceptional at 3D AutoCAD. Don't want to hurt my shoulder, patting myself on the back, but AutoCAD itself is not a 3D software.
Because I think it was originally designed to just do like uh plates,
Civil
right?
engineering.
Yeah, civil engineering stuff, and then we kind of adapted it to our industry. And
Yeah, but Inventor and Fusion 360 natively talk to 3D printers and are honestly better for that aspect, but that isn't 100% of what I do.
yeah,
And I sometimes it's a battle with people to understand why different programs have their merits because some people go, "Nope, I only use Vectorworks. It works for me. It's the best." You are an idiot if you think otherwise.
dude, I hate that mentality. I was working with a program. I think it was a video programmer at Summerfest, and he also does lighting. But he was like, "Dude, you were great." Blah blah blah. And he was like, "I will like give me your number. We'll link up. Blah blah blah." And he's thrown a bunch of gigs my way, but I haven't been able to take them. So he's like, I was like, "Hey, can I recommend some people to you?" And he's like, "Yes. The only criteria is they can't be old." I was like, "What? That's kind of weird. Why is that?" And he's like, "I am so sick and tired of old guys coming in with an attitude and just being grumpy." When the younger guys can do it better, know more, and have a good attitude about it, and can adapt on the fly. And I was like, that makes 100%. No offense to old guys in the industry. Y'all are legends, I promise you. But it's just like, dude, sometimes when people get a chip on their shoulder, it takes a lot to knock it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've worked with plenty of old roadies who are very stuck in their way,
Yeah.
and it can be very difficult to work with those guys.
And it's like the other thing too is they don't. I feel like us as young people are all about sharing knowledge, right? Because if we all advance as a whole, then you have someone else you trust that you can take a gig or hand a gig off. But the older guys, like, they don't want to share the knowledge because they're scared that you're going to take their job from them. At least that's what I've seen a lot of the time. Most of the time, it's not like that. But I feel like that is a stigma in the industry, of
It's
like,
somewhat of a generalization, but I believe you're absolutely right.
yeah, and like, like we weren't around in the 70s and 80s when rock and roll was like the biggest thing ever. But everything is turning networking and digital now, and it's changing, and a lot of people are not keeping up with that anymore.
Yeah. And I think the most productive people, young or old, are the ones that don't get caught up with the toys or caught up with the technology,
Hmm.
Right, it's
but
not
can
as new
see,
and shiny to them.
Yeah.
yeah, They're the ones that can see this serves a purpose, and maybe I don't know the most about this video server that we're integrating to make this work or this thing happen. But if you understand its purpose and what supplies you need to give them or what resources, you are better off regardless of how old you are.
Yeah.
And the young people want to get caught up in the fact that they know more and that this is advanced and very technological. And I think the old people want to get caught up and they've done more.
Yes.
They have the experience.
They have the wisdom, yeah, 100%. There are definitely things I've done on site where, you know, my manager or boss will come and be like, "Why the fuck are you doing this?" Be like, "Oh, dude, I'm making it all neat and tidy." He's like, "Dude, this gig is up for a day. It doesn't fucking matter." I was like, "You know what? You're right. You're 100% right. Fuck this. I'm not gonna cable manage as neatly as I would." You know, like it's different. It's different doing like a tour or like a festival compared to like, oh, hey, we just need to throw some lights on the stage and do this crazy corporate thing for a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Versus a-
yeah, like festival and tours, like your dimmer racks are 100% labeled. If one fixture goes out, you know exactly where it is. You know, other things, it's like, we lost it. That's fine. The show's over in like 30 minutes. The LD doesn't even notice it, nor does he care. You know, and
There's still enough light. We can see the people.
exactly. And dude, and I've walked up to LDs before. I'm like, hey man, like this fixture's flipping out. Do you want me to do something about it? He's like, dude, I haven't noticed it, so like it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, cool, dude. That makes my job easier. Like, I'll check it after the
Yeah.
show.
It's interesting when you run into people that are very caught up in being artists
hmm
because that sometimes can be the enemy of productivity.
Yeah.
I have noticed, having moved on to the real world, that there aren't nearly as many artists out here
Oh,
in the rock and roll field.
yeah, because there's money there.
It just doesn't matter nearly as much, and there's a lot more money on the line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because for every second you spend worrying about the art, um, you sacrifice. Uh, it's just time spent. I will say we just had. It's not true, everybody. You have some real newcomers to the scene, like oh god, what's her name? The 18-year-old. She just won all those Grammys.
Billie
Billie
Eilish.
Eilish.
hmm
She, like, her whole show, and whoever her art director is, and I think she's choreographing a lot of it. That show is like an art piece through and through. It's almost a theater piece, and she's getting pushback from some people on her team. Um, at least just being in the rehearsal process and seeing it, like, um, there's some points where it seemed like art wanted to be done versus like just play the songs, and there seemed to be a lot of pushback. But
Yeah.
as far as I
And-
know, well, the tour that was going to happen would have been very, very artsy and cool.
Didn't she have a water tank on stage? I saw a video of
No,
I saw a video
maybe.
of a performance where she was like lowered down into a pool.
I don't think so. If it was, there was a lot of projection and LED screens
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
going on in that show.
But I think that's part of their brand is very artsy and I don't know, heady.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, have you seen her music videos, man?
Yeah.
She's an artsy bitch.
Yeah, and like it's super edgy and it's everything it needs to be, but like her shows definitely reflect that.
Yeah. And you know, you got to sell what you got.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy though how she exploded onto the scene. Like 100% came out of nowhere, just exploded onto the scene. And now, how many
I
Grammys
think
did she
she
win?
still lives with her mother,
She
technically.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
she turned 18 like a couple months ago because, you know, the
Uh,
internet was raging about it, but, you know,
yeah, people are disgusting.
100%, dude.
That's a child. That's still a child. What were you doing when you were 18? I was still getting arrested. I was still inside of buildings I should not been inside of.
Oh, 100%, dude. Oh my god.
And
Feel
it's I mean, like we don't need to get too into the concept of fame and the world around that, but it's absolutely insane that somebody so young can capture an audience like
Yes,
that. But
very.
our audience is young,
Mm,
and
It's
it's
very
people that can
sudden.
relate.
Taken. She's taken the reins on a
yeah.
large
Yeah,
group of people who love her, which all power to her. I don't listen to her music, but people who do seem to love it through and through. And she doesn't seem like she's using it for nefarious purposes, right? So,
correct.
you know, she's a good egg, and hopefully, you know,
Um,
being 18 doesn't ruin her by the time she's 25.
yeah, I kind of think back every now and again of like, would you go back and live in high school and not have the responsibilities you have today? You know what I mean? I
I mean,
miss I
yeah, that's
miss
where
it so
nostalgia
much.
comes from.
Yeah, but just like, well, yeah, duh.
When
But
you
I'm
get
just,
older, you get sad.
this is so true, man. You get old,
Do you
I
think
gotta
that's
pay bills
natural?
and shit. I think it is. I think it is.
Just getting old and becoming more sad for the times that you had or the times that
Well, as you get
If you're a
older,
fucking idiot,
as you get older, you start to remember more too, right?
well, you also there's a bias there, right? Is
you've
you
got more memories.
there's a bias of remembering the good times, but also, your memory can only hold on to so much. You can't hold on to the mundane of every time you've ever done laundry, every time you ever got gas,
Yeah.
but you're going to hold on to the really good times and the really bad times. So just seeing things through a kaleidoscope, a lens, sort of the good and the bad.
Yeah. And I don't like to think that anything were the best years of my life because all of them are. I
Yeah.
get to be alive right now and it's crazy.
And not have corona 100%.
Hold on, yet
Yet.
Yes, thank you.
So,
don't have corona yet.
so me and my roommates just finished our, I think it was what, 14 days since someone has visited us. So we are, I think, in the clear of corona.
Are you allowed to leave your house now?
Yeah, but outside is still pretty bad. For anyone who doesn't know, I do live in New York, and the news, I can't tell you how many calls I have gotten and texts of people freaking out because they've been watching the news and they're like, all these people are dying in New York, this and that, blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, it is happening, but there's so many more people in New York, like it's bound to happen. Like let's look at ratios and not just like numbers, right? And my mother has
Densely
been,
populated area.
yeah, a very densely populated area, but like my mother, I think, was it yesterday they posted on the New York Times like to advise New Yorkers to wear a mask when they go outside and all this.
Yeah, they're projecting to really date this podcast. The CDC hasn't come out and said it, but it's sounding like very soon we're going to hear from either the president or the CDC that everyone should be wearing a face covering of some sort. Specifically, not the N95 masks, because those
Mhm.
are in great need for our healthcare workers and first responders. Um, but everyone should be wearing some sort of homemade or store bought face covering.
Yeah, which so I don't know what type of mask it is, but the cloth one that most
Mhm.
like doctors and nurses wear.
Are you talking? So the main one that is in heavy is an N95 mask, meaning that it filters out 95% of particulates
Yes.
of a certain size. It's really a respirator.
Right,
It
right.
allows you to breathe out, and when you breathe in, it filters out all those particulates. And so
Yeah,
those have to be used in a very specific way to keep people safe. And a lot of the reports early that you heard of these are not effective for general public use was around the fact that most people don't use them correctly.
because you have to have a full
Yeah.
seal, right, around your
Right.
face.
You need to
You
wear
have
it.
to be
You
clean shaven.
Yes, you have to wear these things properly in order for them to be effective. And the general public is not trained on how to use them effectively. So that's where a lot of this was coming from. But it's coming out now, and people are saying it would probably have been better off if people had worn masks of the non fancy kind from the beginning. And it maybe could have helped particulate sprays when people cough or sneeze or just generally talk at people in a close vicinity. Um, wearing these basic masks could have
Yeah,
helped.
so from my understanding, like the cloth one that wraps around your ears, that you see in like doctor TV
Like
shows
a
and stuff like.
surgical mask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are not for protecting yourself but protecting others, right? Because it
correct.
doesn't seal all the way around your mouth, but if you sneeze or cough, it'll catch it on the way out.
Correct.
Yes.
It is not. It is protecting your neighbor, and if your neighbor wears one, they are protecting you. That's the idea.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. You
It's just
because
keeping your fluids to yourself, which is true of life.
yeah. So
That's
the more people wear
fantastic.
masks, the less people spread it without knowing that they have it. Because we're finding out that within 24 to 48 hours before you show symptoms, you are you can spread the disease,
Yes.
which is a problem because you were spreading a disease that you don't know you have.
It's crazy that we're in a pandemic right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
I've never been in a pandemic before. This is fun.
None of us have. Even most of our parents, there hasn't been a pandemic that has shut down portions of countries before. Swine flu in 2009 was like a big deal, and it hospitalized and killed a lot of people, but it wasn't to the point where entire states were shutting down, entire countries were going on lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was before that?
So there was H1N1, which was swine flu. There was bird flu in
Bird flu.
2006, something like
Yeah.
that. That was before. I don't have any real idea, but I'm gonna date it. I'm gonna find out when the bird flu happened.
We had Ebola. We had Zika.
We did have Ebola, but see,
Not
Ebola,
just
there
viruses
was
up in here.
yeah, Ebola there was a good national response, so it never really made it outside of Western Africa,
Hmm.
Yeah.
in large quantities because it was really dealt with on site in a good way to keep it from spreading.
Yeah.
Uh, Then there was going back farther. There was something called Hong Kong flu, and I think '57 that hit New York really hard.
It's
Uh,
very possible.
and I think it hit the West Coast really hard, and then the 1918 Spanish flu, which was the last thing that was closest to this in proportion. But that Spanish flu and this coronavirus have very different um, symptoms and spread rates.
Yeah.
Um, so trying to compare them isn't exactly a smart, healthy thing to do.
So,
And it's
ironically,
not,
sorry, go ahead, Sam.
just like we talked about a second ago, it's not productive to look back into the past for answers. It's good to look back into the past for problems, what we did wrong then.
Hmm. Yep.
Look for wisdom, not solutions. Because clearly something didn't work.
I was gonna say, ironically enough, me and my friends started playing this game called Pandemic Legacy,
Ah, great game.
which Ben you can definitely talk about. But playing the game makes me see how hard it is to contain something of this magnitude.
Well, and
Trying,
it's a group of you
Yeah.
working together to try to solve this problem that only some of you understand,
Mhm.
and it's going to take a global team to do this.
Yeah, and it's crazy how in the game you like have resources and you have to spend resources and keep resources in cities to make sure they don't have an epidemic and whatnot. It's so hard to do that when managing small areas of it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It just spreads so fast and there's not enough people to manage it.
We need a lot of smart people in a lot of places making good decisions
Yeah.
in order to get this all to come together.
Because I think right now, most of the countries are working independently of each other, if I'm not mistaken.
There has not been a global leader of gathering resources and getting people together on this. And I think that was a role, not to get too political, but that was a role that was, during the Ebola outbreak, was really led by the United States.
Hmm.
They, the United States sent over, portions of our military to not like treat people, but to like set up field hospitals and organize supplies and deal with the logistics of dealing with a pandemic like this. And we just don't see that happening right now by anybody.
Yeah. Funny, not funny enough, but I've been watching a lot of Hulu, and they've been running ads about uh, is it France or Italy? I think it's Italy who has it really bad right now.
Yeah, Italy was
Yep.
the hotspot.
Yeah, but basically the ads are like really, really trying to make you feel upbeat and not depressed because of how bad it is over there. They're like, we as people are still connected, and a smile can, make day, blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of crazy to see that.
My favorite ad campaign has been Guinness.
Really, I haven't seen it.
I'm not familiar.
You got all right. I'll send some to you guys after this, maybe. But Guinness has been so positive through this whole process, and just very much focused on each other and the world as a whole.
Just video ad campaigns.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll drink a Guinness whenever, but that's great.
Yeah, and it's. I think Ben, we were talking about this the other day, but out of the pandemic, I think it's pushing us into pushing everybody into the digital era now. Like a lot of people who aren't used to doing, like who aren't part of the gamer community doing like Discord and like streams and chats with friends and all that.
Web
They are
conferences and all that.
yeah,
A lot of the world just found out that they can do their job from home.
yes,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
There's someone who also can't drive. I've been saying this for years. I will always work from home.
I've seen a lot.
Then it becomes a question of efficiency overall.
Yeah.
Well,
I would love to go into an office like once a week to have the meetings and to get the things done in person that need done. But the amount of times I've sat at a desk and done nothing in an office, where I could be at home. Come on, son.
100%, dude. I have sat in offices for days because there hasn't been enough work to fill your time, right? But
yeah,
to the company, they have to keep you there to pay you, right? They're not just gonna let you go home and do your own thing. But
you got to be at work.
Yeah, exactly. But I hope that changes because I think overseas it's like that where they have a lot more benefits and can do things along this nature.
Yeah.
Through this, I've read a couple of those. I've seen the rise of some really dystopian style software that like you have to set as an employee, you have to set up a webcam and it will watch you and it will ping you like every 5 minutes and it'll take note of what you're doing at those points to make sure that you are definitely working and being efficient at home, which is not cool.
No,
Like
not
getting
at all.
spied on at home is not cool.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure there's another way to see that and solve that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you're not like busting your ass at home, like your numbers will come down in whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But that's just a little over the
Yeah, I
top.
don't think it requires being pinged every 5
I don't think
minutes
the
to make
thought
sure you're
police
still
need to be
working.
involved.
Right.
That's crazy. Does anyone want to get any last comments in before we wrap this up?
Oh man, how long have we been going?
Almost an hour, yeah.
Oh wow. All right. Well, good for us.
We got about 10, 15 more minutes.
Do we have any ideas for the name of this no-name podcast?
Oh yeah, that should be a great discussion right now.
I liked your YouTube channel, Dev, Backstaged.
Backstage. Yeah, dude, I made that my freshman year of college. It's been sitting there for a while.
Sitting there dormant, just waiting to be used.
Well,
I don't know if that's owned or used by anyone else. But...
it's not. Disney has a Backstage TV show that got canned a long time ago.
Good.
I'm sure they would be ready and willing to give away that IP.
Yeah, but
you'd be surprised. The mouse is a powerful bitch.
Yeah, we're also not doing the same thing they are at any level at what they were doing, so I think we're okay. I'm totally cool with Backstage. I thought
Yeah,
it was
I think
kind of
it's-
cheesy at the time, but I like it.
It's just cheesy enough for people to go, "Oh, I know that."
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's the easy solution.
I'm gonna plug myself here. If anyone wants to go to youtube.com/backstage, you can see a lot of my lighting programming work. And I think we're gonna do this podcast once a week, maybe
Once a week.
Fridays. Yeah.
I like
Not
that.
Fridays
yeah.
are good for me.
Fridays work. As long as I'm furloughed.
Yep.
Fridays work.
Yeah.
Yep. I was thinking
Which
Friday,
is
maybe around
the
3:00.
foreseeable future.
It's also a great way to just keep in contact with people. As this podcast matures, we're gonna pull in more people. I think we're gonna have a max of 4 people on the podcast at a time. But
I think
I like
think
4.
more than 4 would be tough
Oh,
to deal with.
yeah, but we can we have a lot of guests in a lot of different areas of the industry that could shine some insight on things that and opinions of others. So we'll see how this goes.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the now named Backstage podcast. We will be back probably next Friday at 3 p.m. unless you hear otherwise. So thanks for joining.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye everybody.